The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, O Lord.
That time, Jesus said to his disciples, "There will be signs in sun and moon and stars, and on the earth distress of the nations, in perplexity because of the roaring of the sea and its waves. People fainting with fear and with foreboding of what is coming on the world. For the powers of the heavens will be shaken, and then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. Now when these things begin to take place, straighten up and raise your heads, because your redemption is drawing near. But watch yourselves, lest your hearts be weighed down with dissipation and drunkenness and the cares of this life. That day come upon you suddenly like a trap. For it will come upon all who dwell on the face of the whole earth. But stay awake at all times, praying that you may have the strength to escape all these things that are going to take place and to stand before the Son of Man." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Lord Jesus Christ.
Jesus is coming for our lives. Are we ready for him? Gospel says some people will faint in fear about the things that are happening in the world, everything changing, our world turning upside down. We don't have to fear, because we know Jesus has the victory and he comes. Don't be distracted by the cares of this world, by dissipation, the pursuit of pleasure, or drunkenness, escaping from the difficulties. Stay awake. Be alert, for Christ is coming into our lives. Tell a little story to illustrate. It was a beautiful, sunny day, and these two guys were taking a walk, enjoying the good weather and the nature. Not many cars on the street. And suddenly they heard a big crash. They looked up. The car had run into a tree. They went over to see what happened, to see if they could help. They call for an ambulance, and they see that in the car there was a man and a woman and two children. Not hurt too bad. The ambulance came and picked them up and brought them away. And something strange, sitting on top of the car, there was a monkey. And they said to themselves, "Well, you think maybe this monkey could tell us how this accident occurred?" They said, "Well, why don't we ask him?" They said, "Oh, Mr. Monkey, did you see the accident occur, or you'd be able to tell us what happened?" The monkey goes, "Okay, Mr. Monkey, what were the children doing when the accident occurred?" And the monkey goes, "What were the children doing?" Fighting, huh? Fighting over a toy, or who knows why they were fighting, but they weren't at peace. And so, Mr. Monkey, the children were fighting, right? And Mr. Monkey, what was the woman doing when the accident occurred? The monkey goes, "What was the woman doing?" Talking. Probably not paying attention to the children in the back seat fighting. She was talking. Who knows what she was talking about, but she could have been gossiping and about others, and who knows, huh? So, Mr. Monkey, then the woman was talking, right? And Mr. Monkey, what was the man doing when the accident occurred? And the monkey goes, What was the man doing? Drinking. Is that right, Mr. Monkey? The man was drinking. And Mr. Monkey, what were you doing when the accident occurred? The monkey goes, what was the monkey doing? Driving. No wonder why the disaster happened, the accident happened. The children are fighting, rather than living in peace, in despair over a toy, thinking that they won't be happy unless they have what they want. Despair is the opposite of hope. When we have hope, we know God is with us, and God is with the other person. God is with our family members. But when we don't have hope, then we try to control the situation, we get angry, dominating, we start fighting. Hope brings peace. The lack of hope brings violence. Then the monkey is driving our lives behind the steering wheel. And for the woman who's talking about other people because it makes her feel better, makes her feel more powerful, she feels insecure because she doesn't feel she has enough power, and makes her feel better that she can say negative things about other people, Lack of hope. In her despair, she thinks she has to talk about people because it makes her feel more powerful. Because she doesn't feel good enough the way she is. She has not the hope of the love of God to make her feel good. Hope gives peace with all people and respect. Despair leads to violence in our words and how we act, and talking bad about others, because we don't believe that God will come to us and give us everything we need and give us all the power He can to change the world. And so we look for power in other ways. Despair leads to violence. Hope brings peace and respect. We don't have hope. Probably the monkey who's driving our lives is behind the steering wheel of our lives. And the man, frustrated with his children, frustrated with his wife, in despair, he looked for an escape. Rather than hoping for the presence of God to come to him so that he can deal with his life better and bring peace. Rather than hoping that God loves him, that deep faith in the love of God who will bring him tranquility, who will help him to escape his vices, in despair, does self-damaging activities like drinking. Hope brings peace and self-control because we trust that Jesus will come into our lives. Despair brings violence to ourselves and to others. So, my dear brothers and sisters, during this Christmas preparation time, during this Advent time, let us reflect on our lives so that it is Jesus Christ, as we celebrated last week, Jesus Christ, King of the universe, so that He is the Lord and driver of our lives. And He will take us to new places that we don't know, but we're not afraid because He is with us at all time and He is guiding our lives. And He is behind the steering wheel of our lives, our family lives, and our community, and so we are not afraid. We're afraid if we despair, we don't have hope, we act with disrespect toward ourselves and others, then it is probably the monkey who's behind the steering wheel of our lives instead of Jesus Christ. And so during this Advent season, let us say yes to Jesus, that He come into our lives, that He guide us, that He direct us, that He change us, that He takes us to a new world, a new way of visioning the world, a new way of opening our lives to His presence, to His transforming presence, to His loving presence. Let us enter this season with hope and prayer. remaining vigilant and being awake for the new ways that Christ can come into our lives, guide us and direct us in an ever new way to the fullness of life.